Okay, listen, pay attention, Africa. This video is basically for three categories of people. One, for students who are following me on my platform. Secondly, for parents who use my video in teaching their children. And thirdly, this video is for teachers and lecturers who use my video in teaching their students. Pay attention. You see, why is it that people value certificates so much, even more than certificate? But over time, it's as if that time has changed, that people are now being valued based on certificate and not really on certificate. What has changed? Pay attention. You see, in the early 80s, even 70s, 60s, 90s, early 2000s, certificate was highly valued. Why? Because certificate was placed with a crown. What is that crown? That upon the certificating of an individual, he has the tendency of achieving greater height in the society. Why? Because certificate at that point in time, when school was still standard, and we are not seeing what we are seeing today when education has been bastardized. When school was school and men were being judged on the criteria of what was being learned, certificate was not just seen as a paper, it was seen as a testifier that the bearer of this certificate is as good as this certificate has testified, because certificate was more or less like a testifier, a guarantor, a lynching buncher, testifying on the behalf of the bearer. That is why the owner of the certificate might not be around. He might send this certificate from Enugu to Sokoto, and the people he sent it to will look at the certificate and say, this one is a great mind. Employ him, even without calling him for a personal interview. Why? Because they believe that certificate in those days cannot be doctored, that the bearer of the certificate that said that this person is good is actually good, because the standard of education was still intact. People who had first class were indeed first class, and people who had second class were indeed second class. There was integrity in the academic environment. But over time, the standard crumbled, that today, certificate can be saying one thing and the bearer will be saying another. Certificate is no longer a testifier of the bearer. Certificate does no longer reflect the bearer. Certificate can be saying, this person is a first class student, and you examine the person, you find out that the person is only but a first class student in ignorance. Because why? The standard has crumbled. It has shattered. A lot of people were paying money to make good grades. Some even went to the extent of exchanging sex for grade. I called them, I said, you don't need to do this. They said they will fail me. I want to graduate with good grade. I say it doesn't matter. Time has gone and passed. When they look at the certificate, before you gain something, no, certificate speaks now before certificate. Yes, it does. Listen, for all the students following me on my platform, I'm telling you this, take it from me. Even if a lecturer victimizes you for not paying or for not exchanging sex for grade, do not worry. The failure of an examination does not lie in the paper. No, it lies in you not understanding what you have been taught. If you made A and a lecturer victimizes you and give you B or C, don't bother. The paper is not a reflection of whom you are. No, time has passed when it was a reflection. The standard of education has been bastardized. So we want to see your certificate before we can trust your certificate. You are not ready for me. Are you ready for me? Study to show thyself approved. That is what Apostle Paul wrote to Timothy. When you study and you know you have studied, that is why the philosophers say, he who knows and know that he knows is a wise man. It doesn't matter what your supervisor or your lecturer says, as long as you know and you are convinced that you know, it doesn't matter the result they present to you. So giving your body for grade or paying astronomical amount of money for a grade is a waste of time, because you are going to betray yourself when you come out with that first class or second class upper, and then you submit to an organization and they call you for an interview, and your mind do not reflect what the certificate is saying. The certificate at that point is no longer a testifier or a guarantor that you actually merit what is in paper. Then you will betray yourself and mock yourself. It is better you inform the mind than paying money to doctor the paper. Are you ready for me? Study. The failure is not in the paper. The failure is in the mind. I have achieved a lot of things since I graduated from the university, and most times no one cares about my certificate, even as beautiful as it is. Beautiful certificate. But most times they just want to listen to me. They just want to listen to me. Educate your mind. Do not bother if they fail you or not. Educate the mind so that the certificate can reflect with the certificate. So that when your certificate is saying first class, your mind will be saying first class. Do you understand? And if you are being victimized and your certificate is saying second class lower, and you were victimized, let your mind be first class, so that when someone sees a certificate, he will be like, no, you are not supposed to be second class lower. You are actually supposed to be first class, because your mind is more than what has been doctored. But when you are not reading and you are paying for grades, you are deceiving yourself, because you can fake it to have it, but you can never fake it to keep it. You can never fake it to keep it. You can only fake it to have it, but you can't fake it to keep it. You cannot, see, you can pay money for anything, but you cannot pay money. You cannot bribe your mind to know what it has not read. It's impossible. Study as a student. In my next videos, I will teach you how you can read as a student and enjoy reading. Reading is not difficult. I will teach you how you read and you'll be the best in your school. I will teach you that. But make sure you don't betray yourself. Make sure you don't water a concrete garden. How? Make sure you don't betray yourself, because at the end of the day, you can fake it to have it, but you can never fake it to keep it. So as you are informing your paper, which is your certificate, make sure you are informing your mind, which is the certificate. Africa, wisdom is the principal thing. I love you and I care about you. And I wish every student who is following me on our platform, okay, success in your academic excellence. Success. Because if you are following me, you must do well in school. Because the man who is speaking to you does not know what it means to fail. And you will never know. Wisdom Africa is a principle to make sure you request for books, okay? Make sure you request for books. Message me on WhatsApp through the number right here on my bio. Message me and book will be given to you in less than 24 hours. I love you and I care about you. I'll be giving you many more beautiful videos very soon on how you can succeed academically. I love you and I care about you. Wisdom Africa is the principle too. I'm still going from school to schools, giving books to African children to read. And trust me, the experience is beautiful. It's beautiful. And soon, I'll be posting videos so you can see how the children are happy while we give them books. I love you and I care about you. Wisdom Africa is the principal thing. Make sure you support us. Follow me on all platforms. Modern Day Time. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right? So we can get monetized and get more money to sponsor children in society. And with time, I am planning that we will reform the academic curriculum in Africa. I love you and I care about you. Wisdom Africa is the principal thing.